When other people are reborn, they either make money or chase girls. But the first thing I did after being reborn was to trick my best friend into having 10 kids with me. How many years have we known each other? 7 to 8 years, right? What's up? Su Yue looked at me, confused. Your bro is in trouble. Are you going to help or not? Looking at her, I slowly opened my mouth. Su Yue took a deep breath, instinctively covering the handbag next to her, and clenched her small fist. Let me say this first. Real bros don't talk about money. Seeing Su Yue's reaction, I chuckled softly. I never expected that the good friend who saw me off on my final journey in my past life would be afraid of me asking her for money. But today I didn't come to borrow money. My gaze swept over Su Yue, then I slowly spoke. The family is rushing me. Since we're both believers in not getting married, how about you have a child for me? As soon as I finished speaking, Su Yue choked, hurriedly grabbing the glass of draft beer on the table and took a sip. Her crescent-shaped eyes widened, her expression filled with disbelief. Wait, what did you just say? I didn't hear you clearly. I said, have a child for me. Are you sick? Do you think I'm a breeding sow? After confirming she hadn't misheard, Su Yue raised her fist and punched me once, then continued to devour her grilled skewers. Suddenly feeling that eating like this made her seem more like a pig, she stopped. Her crescent moon-like eyes shot me a fierce glare. Don't be so quick to refuse. Think about it a little. I leaned back in my chair. Get lost. Like you said, this isn't a matter of money. It's a matter of principle. There's nothing to consider. You really won't do it? Su Yue frowned. This isn't about me. Don't you want to leave something behind before you go abroad? Ah. Su Yue, who was like a crazed little kitten, suddenly fell silent. I also fell silent. I dared to use this method to keep Su Yue, precisely because I knew her weakness. Although Su Yue didn't seem aggressive at all, and even had a bit of cute foolishness, she was someone who planned her future very clearly. She had her own ambitions and was working hard to achieve them. The two of them were high school and university classmates. After graduating from university, Su Yue started saving money, not even willing to order takeout. She didn't worship foreign things, but it was undeniable that, at this stage, going abroad to gild oneself in return would open up one's prospects a bit more. This was an extremely important goal for her at her current stage, and she had always been working hard for it. I greatly admired this spirit of hers, but having returned from my past life, I knew that about a year later, after Su Yue saved enough money to go abroad, she regretted it but was unwilling to accept it. Having spent so much money, she could only endure staying abroad. It wasn't until I became critically ill that Su Yue rushed back from abroad, and it was on my deathbed that Su Yue confessed her feelings to me, that she had always liked me, but I wasn't the best candidate for a husband. I was too much of a scumbag. She was abroad, but she always paid attention to news from home, wanting to see if the prodigal son would ever return, but she never expected that something unexpected would happen. I was also a bit dazed this time. No matter what, I wouldn't let her go again. Seeing Su Yue remain silent, the corner of my mouth lifted slightly, and I stood up, pretending to leave. If you don't want to, then forget it. I'll find someone else. Don't. Wait a minute, what's the rush? This is a big deal. I have to think about it. Su Yue quickly spoke up. I took the opportunity to sit back down. Actually, there's nothing to consider. Think about it. This is a win-win situation. You can leave behind a memento, and I can satisfy my family's demands. Even taking 10,000 steps back, Su Yue, we're a good-looking pair, aren't we? Our looks are decent, and our IQs are fine too. Are you really content with coming into this world and not leaving anything behind? My words entered Su Yue's ears like a magic spell. Su Yue looked at the glass of draft beer on the table, which glowed with the color of barley under the lights. She recalled the first day she met me in high school. Perhaps it was a young girl's budding romance, first love, perhaps love at first sight. I've fallen for him, thank heavens. For so many years, the two of them became brothers who could talk about anything. The only thing she wasn't satisfied with was that I was too much of a scumbag on the outside and had too many ambiguous female companions. To avoid becoming one of them herself, she buried these feelings deep in her heart. She wasn't someone who believed in not marrying, but she said that just to go along with my scumbag mentality. She just never thought of marrying anyone else. Of course, right now I wasn't the best candidate for marriage, but if she had a child with me, she could still save up enough money to go abroad. Su Yue secretly sized me up. As for the scumbag image, I'd rate myself number 1. I happened to raise my beer glass for a sip, and a drop of beer trickled down my neck, past my Adam's apple, flowing all the way down, revealing a glimpse of my chest. Su Yue lightly licked her pink lips. This good buddy of mine is still very hot. What Kaijia-kun said made a lot of sense. Being the biological mother of his child doesn't seem like a loss. It's just that I can't just agree like this. Why should Kaijia-kun get to fool around for so many years while I have to bear his child? What about all your good little sisters out there? Well, that depends on your performance. I sat up straight, my handsome bad boy face curved into a wicked smile as I looked into Su Yue's crescent moon eyes. Her eyes were filled with confusion, but she reacted quickly, her face immediately flushing red, her voice sharp, shaking her head like a rattle drum. No way, there's one more condition. If you want to have a child with me, you have to cut ties with all your sisters outside. This is my bottom line. No problem. I pretended to think for 2 seconds, then nodded. Su Yue also spoke with satisfaction. You may be a scumbag, but you're a man of your word. That part is not an issue. So you're saying, you agree? I could barely contain the joy in my heart. Su Yui's face turned red, and just as she was about to nod, she suddenly looked up to confirm with me. Then you have to cover all the expenses during this time. I almost burst out laughing at her expression. Of course I'll cover them. How could I let you suffer a loss? That's not it, but remember, we are not in a relationship. Got it? Not in a relationship. I stood up to pay the bill, afraid that if I waited, I wouldn't be able to stop myself from laughing out loud. Who'd be in a relationship before having a child? Who cares about being in a relationship? It's not too late to fall in love after we have the child. Oh, my foolish Yue. By then I'll be holding 2 trump cards, family and love. I don't know how I could possibly lose. After paying, I led Su Yue to the curb to hail a cab. Su Yue forcefully pulled her hand away, muttering something. We're bros. This is a bit too ambiguous. We didn't talk about that part. I smiled, shook my head and waved my hand, hailing a taxi and opening the back door. After Su Yue got in, I got in after her. What are you getting in for? Aren't you going home? Perhaps the shock I gave her today was too great. Su Yue's mind was a bit sluggish. I pointed to myself, then to the restaurant we were just at. We just discussed it. Have you forgotten so quickly? The back seat was dark, and Su Yui's face flushed bright red in an instant. She shifted her whole body across the seat, pressing against the other door, cowering like a quail. Don't you want to go abroad sooner? Su Yue said nothing more. Switching from being best buddies to having to bear my child, this situation was truly difficult to adapt to. She was completely unprepared. Sitting in the back seat, Su Yue's hands were twisted together, not letting go even when her fingers hurt. She didn't know if agreeing to my proposal was right or wrong. The car seemed to be moving faster than usual. She felt like only 2 minutes had passed when the car stopped downstairs from her apartment. Let's go, let's head up. I was all too familiar with this place and walked straight ahead. Seeing me act so naturally, Su Yue pouted and followed behind me. To save money, the house she rented was a bit remote. Walking down the hallway, she felt she could hear her own heartbeat and clutched her chest, her steps becoming increasingly unsteady. At her front door, I remembered Su Yui's door code even more clearly, successfully entering the code and opening the door just like coming back to my own home. With a click, the light turned on. The apartment wasn't large, but it was decorated very cozily, and it was kept very clean. The lights in the room were all warm-toned, reflecting Su Yui's attitude towards life. She was a person who loved life very much, which also made the house feel very warm. I remembered that whenever I was drunk, I loved to come here to rest. I turned my head and realized Su Yue was still standing at the door and hadn't come in. Come on in, this is your house? Why are you more embarrassed than I am? Outside the door, Su Yue took a deep breath. Whatever, I've already agreed, this is what we both want anyway. At worst, I'll just consider it a dog bite. Gritting her teeth, she stepped inside. Before she could even let out a sigh of relief, everything suddenly went dark before her eyes. I was already standing in front of her, and the door had been closed. Su Yue was 168 centimeters tall, which was a very good height for a girl, but my 185 centimeters height gave her an unparalleled sense of pressure. She felt like a girl enveloped by shadows, lonely and helpless. Su Yue had absolutely no experience and panicked in an instant, pushing me with her arm. What's your hurry? I still have other demands I haven't mentioned. I took 2 steps back, looking at Su Yue, who didn't dare to look up at me. What demands? Spit it out. Hearing my almost unwavering voice, Su Yue was about to cry. She had no idea what other demands to make. She was just stalling for time. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration hit her. There are also supplements, health foods. You have to buy all of these things, make sure there's enough. No problem. I agreed without hesitation and reached out to hug Su Yue. No. Su Yue quickly shook her head again, her whole body pressed against the door with no way to retreat. Her crescent eyes guiltily darted around. What's not okay? I understood her panic. I had enough patience, wanting to see what other tricks this little woman had up her sleeve. I mean, there's also the postpartum care center and things like that. Su Yue bit her lip, her clear eyes looking at me. I burst out laughing. This silly girl was already thinking that far ahead. It must have been hard for her. I know, you're my good buddy, so how could I let you suffer? Don't you worry. Anything else to add? Su Yue fell silent, thinking to herself. It's over. This time I've really run out of things to say. This scumbag's offense is too strong. I can't stall any longer. She closed her eyes in helplessness. Seeing this, I directly swept her up in my arms, her soft, fragrant body in my embrace. Looking at Su Yue with her eyes shut tight. This girl, how did I never know before that when she's nervous she could be this cute? Maybe it's because being bros before didn't cost anything, so you were always hiding things from your bro. You're not being a good enough buddy. Today I must teach her a lesson. She'll never forget. To strengthen the bond between us. Su Yue felt as if all the strength had been drained from her body. Even through her clothes she could feel the contours of my muscles and went limp, letting me carry her into the bedroom. The next morning, the morning sun shone through the gap in the curtains. I opened my eyes in bed, looking at the soft, warm body next to me. Su Yui's eyes were closed tight, her long eyelashes trembling, and I could see tear stains from last night at the corners of her eyes. Perhaps because she had just woken up, her delicate little face was a bit more swollen than usual, round and extremely cute. A hint of pity flashed in my eyes, but I didn't expose the fact that she was pretending to be asleep and got up by myself. Hearing no more movement beside her, Su Yui secretly opened her eyes, just in time to see my back and the bedroom door closing. A sense of loss and grievance welled up inside her. Could it be that Kaijia-kun doesn't have any feelings for me at all, and I finally become just like those other women? Her crescent moon eyes filled with tears. Su Yui wiped her tears haphazardly, soaking her eyelashes. Forget it. This was only supposed to be a... Su Yui comforted herself, dragging her body to lean against the headboard. Her whole body ached as if it were about to fall apart, and she opened her mouth to curse under her breath. Picking up her phone, she stared blankly at the picture of her younger self on the screen. From this day on, she was a real woman. Looking at the empty space beside her, my scent seemed to linger on the pillow. Su Yui felt a sting in her nose again. Just then, the bedroom door clicked open. I walked in carrying a bowl, and a fragrant aroma followed. Su Yui, whose eyes were red and puffy, didn't expect me to still be here, and was instantly both flustered and embarrassed. Why are you crying? The moment I saw her, her pitiful appearance tugged at my heartstrings. I guessed what she was thinking and sat down on the edge of the bed with the bowl. Let me tell you, for a woman, being in a good mood during conception is extremely important. You have to be responsible for my child. You can't cry like this. If it affects the baby, I won't let you off. Su Yui's face flushed red, and she instinctively touched her stomach. I've never had a child before, but could it really happen this fast? Then she looked at the century egg and lean pork congee in my hand, her favorite dish. Just the smell made her mouth water. So he went out to cook for me. The grievance and sense of loss in Su Yui's heart instantly dissipated a lot. Come on, eat up. For the baby in your belly, from now on you must eat your 3 meals a day on time. Hearing these words, Su Yui's eyes, which were just about to light up, were immediately covered by a layer of mist again. I know, just leave it there. I'll eat it myself later. With that, she tried to crawl back under the covers, but I grabbed her. Eat it while it's hot. You need to strengthen your sense of responsibility. Su Yui felt very humiliated, but she still took the bowl, grinding her teeth. Their roles had changed. They could no longer live together like the bros they were before. Seeing Su Yui obey and take the bowl, I nodded in satisfaction and started tidying up the clothes on the bed. Su Yui was about to eat when her face immediately turned as red as a tomato. Last night's frenzy had left the bed very messy. Her clothes were thrown everywhere, including some rather embarrassing underwear. She opened her mouth to say something, but I spoke at that moment. For the health of our child, we need to start paying attention to the living environment. From now on, we must be more hygienic. I'll help you wash your clothes for now, but later on, you'll have to pay attention to this yourself. After speaking, without waiting for Su Yui to reply, I took the gathered clothes into the bathroom. The child, it's all for the child. Su Yui bit her lip, no longer caring about the embarrassment, and wanted to angrily put down the bowl. But when she remembered my firm attitude from just now, she held back and looked down at her body wrapped in the blanket. Kaijia-kun only wants my belly. Thinking of this, she fiercely scooped up a spoonful of congee and stuffed it into her mouth, with an air as if she wanted to devour me whole. It was just that her crescent eyes squinted in pleasure the moment the congee entered her mouth. So delicious. Her eating speed unconsciously quickened quite a bit. Sitting in bed, eating the congee mouthful by mouthful, the sound of clothes being washed came from the bathroom. Su Yui leaned against the headboard, momentarily dazed. If we could live like this for a lifetime. Impossible. Su Yui's expression was complicated, a mix of loss and sorrow. She still had to go abroad, and everything I was doing was only for the child that didn't even exist yet. When I came out with the basin of washed clothes, I happened to see Su Yui. Finished eating, let me check. The bowl was sparkling clean, and I showed my satisfaction. Not bad, worthy of praise. Su Yui ignored me, not knowing how to face me now. Ill, get under the covers. She buried her head under the blanket, her whole body curled up like a shrimp. From the outside, she looked like a misshapen lump, making one imagine how fragrant the person underneath was. I hung the clothes on the balcony, and when I turned around, I saw Su Yui was still under the covers. I knew she was shy and chuckled softly. The cleaning here is done for now. I'm heading back first. Under the covers, Su Yui's eyes immediately widened, and for a moment she felt she couldn't breathe. Is Kaijia-kun about to leave, just like how he treats other girls? He'll be back at noon to cook. From now on, you'll eat whatever I make. When I'm not here, you're not allowed to snack on other things. We've already agreed on the nutrition aspect. I won't go back on my word. Su Yui snorted lightly, as if agreeing, but she still lay motionless. I didn't force her. Don't be fooled by this buddy of mine. She usually bares her fangs like a little tiger, but when it comes to the real thing, I still have to take care of her pride and self-esteem. I took the bowl from the bedside table and went out. It wasn't until the sound of the door locking was heard that the lump on the bed finally moved. Suyui carefully peeked her head out and took a look. The room was empty. She was the only one left. Didn't Kaijia-kun just leave? He's coming back at noon to cook. Suyui's mood was like a roller coaster, up and down. She reached out and hugged the pillow next to her, burying her face in it. What's the use of men? They're not even as good as a pillow. A few minutes later, Suyui clutched her stomach and crawled out of bed. A bit of shyness flashed in her smiling eyes as she limped towards the bathroom. On the other side, I cheerfully returned to my rented room. Compared to Suyui's apartment, my place was clearly a notch higher. It wasn't because I earned more money than Suyui, but because I didn't save any. The money I earned was all used to build my personal image and for pleasure. I took out my phone and played a song, "You're Too Beautiful." Then humming along, I started packing my things. I wanted to move out. If I didn't take this opportunity to move in with Suyui, I'd truly be a beast. I casually pulled open the nightstand drawer, and even I felt my face flush a little. A whole drawer full of blue pills and condoms. After sweeping everything into a garbage bag, this brother doesn't need these things anymore. At the same time, I deeply realized just how much of a scumbag I used to be. 2.5 hours later, I was finally done packing. I was sweating buckets, glancing at the pile of blue in the trash bag, then looked away. I'm still young. From now on, I need to start working out. I called the landlord to come and inspect the room. At the same time, I sat on the sofa and started cleaning up my WeChat friends list. All those girls, Xiaoli, Xiaomei, and the others, I deleted them all without a second thought. I spent a full half-hour deleting, and another hour later, I was dragging 2 suitcases with large and small bags in my hands, appearing downstairs from Suyui's apartment. The 2 suitcases were from my rented room. The bags in my hands were things I just bought from a nearby market. I have to find a way to make money. The money I have now won't last more than a few days. If Suyui asks about the money I promised her, I can't afford to not have it. With these worries on my mind, I carried the suitcases upstairs. This was definitely not an easy task. Even with few belongings, this was still considered moving. When I opened the door, I was drenched in sweat. The first thing I saw were those crescent-shaped eyes. Our eyes met, and we were both stunned. Suyui was holding up a rolling pin, her lips pursed with an expression like she was ready for a duel. I hadn't even caught my breath when my eyes widened. Are you trying to rebel? You want to hit your boss? Suyui's face turned red. She quickly tossed the rolling pin down and walked towards her room, muttering as she went. The door kept making noise. I didn't know it was you coming back. But halfway there, she suddenly stopped and turned to look at the suitcases in front of me. What are you doing? Moving in, of course. I'm worried you won't be able to take good care of my child on your own. Of course, for the baby's sake, I can also help you split the rent. I gave her no chance to object and pushed the suitcases into the other room. Suyui frowned and followed me into the room. Just as she was about to refuse, she paused when she saw me opening the suitcase. Actually, having a man in the house is quite safe. That noise earlier scared her to death. If Kaijia-kun sleeps in this room, I can accept it and it'll save half the rent. Suyui convinced herself. But the next moment, she saw me take out a computer tower and monitor from the suitcase. The monitor? Let's just leave this baby in this room. If we put it in the other room, there's radiation. It's not good for the child, and not good for adults either. Suyui finally understood. I had no intention of sleeping in this room at all. I wanted to sleep with her. Why are you still standing here? I acted as if I had just noticed her and urged her to go outside. You're in a special period right now. Hurry up and go outside. Noticing that her walk was still a bit strange, I bent down and swept Suyui up into my arms. Suyui struggled. Her crescent moon eyes flashed with panic as she looked at the unplugged computer. Don't move, I suddenly shouted. Suyui immediately grabbed my shirt tightly, too scared to move. It was the exact same feeling as last night. She could still clearly feel the contours of the muscles on my body. I was very strong. You're too skinny. I pretended to seriously size up Suyui in my arms, my tone filled with deep dissatisfaction. Like this, you absolutely cannot provide enough nutrition for my child. This is a sign of irresponsibility. Suyui, who had just been feeling a bit shy, immediately bristled and continued struggling to get down. I went straight to the bedroom. I noticed the bedsheets had been changed, but I didn't know where the old ones were put away. I didn't ask. I directly tucked Suyui into the quilt. Behave yourself at home. Get ready to eat. You'll eat 2 more bowls later. You have to hurry up and get some nutrition. You can't joke around with our child. I gave her a couple of serious instructions, turned and walked out the door, casually closing the bedroom door behind me. Now I was busy in the kitchen. Luckily, after repenting in my past life, I learned to cook for myself, so I was very skilled now. The pig's trotter and corn soup was bubbling in the clay pot, giving off a rich aroma. While keeping an eye on the stir-fry next to it, I hummed a tune, in an extremely good mood. I knew Suyui's taste too well, even when she wanted something savory and when she wanted something light. I knew her living habits like the back of my hand. I had never felt such a sense of accomplishment while cooking before. However, my mind was also on other things. I have to find a way to make money. I've never paid attention to stocks, so besides a few famous ones, I didn't know anything. Real estate isn't a good investment right now, and besides, I don't have the capital. By the time I finished cooking, I still hadn't thought of a good way to make money. As a reincarnated person, I still felt the mountain-like pressure to earn money. I decided to think it over carefully after dinner, to see if there was any information gap I could use. I brought all the food to the table and knocked on the door. Time to eat. I had just called out, my raised hand not yet lowered, when the door opened. We looked at each other and I felt a bit awkward, but that quickly changed to a look of satisfaction. Your sense of responsibility has clearly improved. Very good, very good. Let's eat. I stepped aside. Suyue gave me a glare and walked past me. I faintly heard Suyue snort, but looking at her back, she actually seemed a bit cheerful. Suyue mumbled to herself. The delight on her face was almost impossible to hide. Thinking about my fleeting look of surprise just now, her mood became excellent, especially when she saw that the dishes on the table were all her favorites. Her eyes curved even more. Stewed pig's trotters, boiled shrimp, stir-fried greens, a total of 4 dishes for the two of us, and 1 soup, all perfect in color, aroma, and taste. Although it looked light, it made one's mouth water. I always knew what she liked to eat. This made Suyue glance at me, suddenly finding me much more pleasing to the eye. I served rice for Suyue and placed it in front of her. Eat up. No picky eating. Your nutrition needs to be comprehensive and balanced, and you have to finish it all. No leaving leftover rice or food. Otherwise, you'll start to doubt your sense of responsibility again. Seeing my expression that said, if you don't take good care of my child, I'll tell the child you're its evil stepmother, and then looking at the bowl of rice in front of her, which was clearly more than usual, the delight in Suyue's eyes vanished in an instant, and she lost all interest in talking. She picked up her bowl and chopsticks and shoveled rice into her mouth, staring at me as if to say, "I'll eat until I choke to death." However, I just smiled happily and even picked up food for her. That's right, keep taking big bites like that. Keep this up and the baby will be born healthy. Suyue felt like she was punching cotton. Frustrated, she stopped eating and put her bowl down. Her mouth was still bulging with food. She suddenly felt a bit regretful, wondering why she took such a big bite. While forcefully chewing the rice in her mouth, she vaguely mumbled that I was a scumbag. I pretended not to hear and ate my own food, occasionally putting food into Suyue's bowl and then smiling at her, as if Suyue herself was an appetizing side dish. Suyue was also holding in a ball of anger. You're only doing this for the baby, right? Fine, I'll listen to you. I'll eat it all. I won't give you any chance to find fault with me. Unfortunately, ideals are plump, while reality is very skinny. When Suyue finished the food in her mouth, a troubled look flashed in her eyes. She reached out to touch her stomach. She ate too fast. She hadn't even eaten as much as usual, but she already felt full. But I was sitting next to her watching, so she could only persevere, listlessly eating 1 bite at a time. But she really couldn't eat anymore. Suyue's eyes darted away, not daring to look at me directly. What's wrong? I glanced at the half-eaten bowl of rice, a hint of a smile flashing in my eyes. Suyue lowered her head, looking a bit troubled. It's nothing. After saying that, she picked up her bowl again. Today, she had to stuff it in, even if it meant force-feeding herself. But I really feel more and more like a pig. Why do I have to torture myself like this? The baby he keeps talking about isn't even here yet. Before the rice even entered her mouth, tears had already flowed into it. Her little tongue licked them. So salty, so salty. It really goes well with rice. I have to finish it. Suyue resolved in her heart, closed her eyes, and prepared to shovel the rice. Before the rice could reach her mouth, Suyue suddenly felt her hand lighten. Opening her eyes, she saw that I had taken her bowl. If you can't finish it, you should just tell me. What could I possibly do to you? What if you eat too much and hurt your stomach? I caringly handed her a tissue. However, Suyue's tears instantly couldn't be held back. All the grievances from the past half-day erupted, and she cried even harder. Stop! Don't cry! I held up my hand in a stopping motion. I want you to eat until you're full, not force you to eat until you're bloated. Don't worry, the baby won't blame you for this. With that, I handed her the tissue again. Crying more will affect your mood. I won't eat any more, and I won't cry anymore. Seeing me gently offer the tissue, Suyue obediently wiped her tears. Suddenly she felt that my image didn't seem so hateful after all. That's right, that's a good girl. Don't be a bad crybaby example for the child. Seeing that Suyue's emotions had stabilized, I nodded with satisfaction. Having eaten my fill as well, I stood up to clear the table. Let me do it. Suyue felt embarrassed and immediately stood up to help me. I stopped and glared at her. Suyue immediately retracted her hand like a child who had done something wrong. Now that you've finished eating, go and rest obediently. You finally have 2 days off. Your job is to give birth to a healthy child. This time, Suyue didn't retort, nor did she scratch me. She just nodded slightly and walked towards the bedroom with her head down. I was amused by her small, meek appearance, but I was also afraid she would fall. Watch where you're going. Don't fall. Suyue immediately looked up and turned to look at me. Thank you. After saying that, she turned and ran into the bedroom. I watched that small figure disappear behind the bedroom door, and only then did a smile appear on my face. This little girl sure has a lot of pride. However, this also served as a wake-up call for me. It was fine when we were just good buddies before. We didn't get too involved in each other's lives. But now I must be careful to protect Suyui's self-esteem. I finished cleaning the dishes and finished setting up the computer in the next room. I planned to go online later after I was done to see if it could help me remember anything useful and maybe make some money from an information gap. Then I took the other suitcase into the bedroom. Pushing the door open, Suyui was wearing glasses and leaning against the headboard, flipping through a textbook. Hearing the noise at the door, she turned her head. The sunlight just happened to shine through the balcony, illuminating Suyui. Wearing pajamas, Suyue with her glasses on had a scholarly air, making her seem even more intellectual. For a moment, I was a little captivated by this scene. Suyue looked at me too, remembering how she had lost control of her emotions earlier and cried like a baby. Her eyes behind the glasses showed a hint of embarrassment, but she still spoke. I'm preparing lessons. After a moment's hesitation, she added, This isn't tiring. I'll rest if I get tired. She then patted her belly, her meaning obvious. I won't affect the child. Besides, doing this might even be beneficial for the child. Suyue's face was already bright red. She really dared to say anything. There wasn't even a shadow of a child yet, and she was already starting prenatal education. It sounded a bit like nonsense. I was amused by her obedient demeanor and nodded with great satisfaction before putting away my suitcase neatly. Closing the door, on the other side of it, Suyue let out a soft sigh. Her attention could no longer focus on her books. As expected, in his eyes, there was only the baby. As long as the baby was well protected, Kaija-kun wouldn't have any objections. Originally feeling calm and quiet, she suddenly felt a little depressed. Holding the book, her mind began to wander. Damned scumbag. Her tone was full of resentment. She had seen me before, flirting with other girls, but he was only smiling at her because of the baby. On the other side, after closing the bedroom door, I was actually incredibly excited, because I had just thought of a way to make some immediate money. It would only be a small sum, but it would be enough. It was thanks to seeing the textbook in Suyue's hand that I remembered Suyue was a tutor. She didn't have to tutor these past 2 days because her students were participating in summer camps or going on picnics. And I remembered very clearly that it was this very picnic that was hit by a huge rainstorm and many students caught colds. After that, when Suyue went to tutor, she actually caught the cold too. At that time, Suyue was bedridden and couldn't get up. She even asked me to substitute teach for the other kids for 2 days, so the memory was very vivid. Looking at the sky outside, it was bright and sunny with no sign of impending rain. But it was June, after all. Rain could come at any moment. I remembered that this picnic involved students going with their parents, and they were all trapped by the storm at City Park. Because a large number of students caught colds afterwards, the parents even filed complaints. And I was planning to take this opportunity to make a quick buck. I glanced at the time. It was just past 12 o'clock, so there were less than 5 hours to go. No sooner said than done. I started to take stock of my ammunition, a total of just over 2,000 yuan left. That's enough. First, to the wholesale market. As I was about to leave, I knocked on the bedroom door. I'm going out for a bit. I'll be back tonight to cook. As soon as I finished speaking, I heard the sound of footsteps coming from inside. The bedroom door opened. Where are you going? There was a hidden panic in Suyue's eyes. I smiled. Going out to earn diaper money for our child. Earn diaper money? Suyue instinctively frowned, looking at me with suspicion. The idea of me going to earn diaper money? She didn't believe it one bit. Let's not even talk about me truly turning over a new leaf. Even if I were really going to earn money, I wouldn't be so proactive about it. Of course, today. What if you run away after giving birth? If I don't hurry up and make money now, what will our child eat then? I glanced at the time, feeling that the task was a bit daunting. I'm leaving now. I'll be back tonight to cook. While I'm not home, you have to remember to protect your belly. Watching the door close, Suyue stood at the bedroom door, clenching her teeth. Her hand gripping the doorknob turned white from excessive force. After a long while, she sighed and, like a soulless corpse, returned to bed. On the other side, I quickly arrived at the largest wholesale market in Kun City. Since it was noon, there were very few people, and most of the shop owners were taking a nap. I found a shop where the owner was playing a game and went in. Boss, your disposable raincoats here, and disposable umbrellas? What are the prices? Are you buying wholesale or retail? Wholesale. Hearing my words, the owner finally got interested, put down his phone, and bent over to get the items. Wholesale is cheap. It depends on how many you want, but the goods here are all good quality. Even though they're called disposable, they won't break after just one use. The price definitely won't be better than those low-quality ones. I nodded in understanding. Just treat these words as a joke. This was to prevent me from haggling. However, I had already seen the goods. There wasn't much to choose from for the umbrellas. This type is usually transparent. I tested one. It felt quite sturdy. The raincoats were also the thicker type. This boss actually wasn't lying. I'm not lying to you, am I? The quality is absolutely not a problem. The umbrellas are 4 yuan each, and the raincoats are 1 yuan each. I can issue a receipt. No, I shook my head. I only have a little over 2,000 in capital. Naturally, the lower the cost, the better. Even if I was satisfied with the item, I had to pretend I wasn't. Boss, these are basically disposable. The quality actually doesn't matter that much. We're not a company coming to procure them. We're using our own money to buy them, and who knows how long it'll take to sell them. Looking at the dust on your goods, they must have been sitting here for a long time. These were all produced 3 to 5 years ago. I was finding fault while rambling on about how hard these things are to sell. Finally, under my glib persuasion, the boss sold the umbrellas for 3 yuan each, and the raincoats for 7 jiao 0.7 yuan each. I immediately bought 200 umbrellas and 2,000 raincoats, spending 2,000 yuan. Thanks a lot, boss. I'll leave the stuff outside, and I'll bring your cart back. I borrowed the owner's small push cart, pushed the goods to the roadside, and then returned the cart. After doing all this, my head was covered in sweat. While taking a break, I also stopped by the print shop next door to print a QR code for payments, and then caught a ride. I wonder how Suyue is doing at home. Remembering how Suyue looked before I left the house, I already miss her a little. But I have to make money. I have to earn at least 500,000 yuan, so this girl can feel at ease. I'm confident I can earn 500,000 yuan, starting with today's first pot of gold. Half an hour later, I arrived at the east gate of the city park. A few boxes of my goods were laid out in front of me. Looking at the nearly deserted park, I felt a bit emotional. This place was expanded from the foundation of a scenic spot in the old city. It's incredibly beautiful. But in 2019, local cultural tourism still didn't know how to use short videos for promotion, so it was usually not well known and there were few tourists. But in a few more years, this place will become extremely bustling. I myself have camped here a few times. It was so crowded then, the experience wasn't very good. Now that I have time, I can take advantage of the smaller crowd and bring Suyue here to experience it. As I moved my things inside, I was thinking of ways to lure Suyue here. The sun was still shining brightly, and by the time I moved everything into the gazebo, I was drenched in sweat. However, I wasn't in a hurry. I just lay down in the gazebo and browsed short videos. Time passed, second by second, minute by minute. A gust of wind blew by and I shivered. The wind is picking up. I could clearly smell the approaching rain in the wind. Sitting up, I saw the sun had disappeared and the sky had turned gloomy. In the distance, a clamor could be heard. No way. Just as we finished and were about to go home, it started raining. I didn't bring an umbrella. I'm screwed this time. I saw that the ancient-style corridor ahead is now packed with people, both adults and children. The kids were still in their school uniforms. I was wide awake now. These are my target customers for today. Almost all the elementary school students in the city came here today. Moreover, both the adults and students came on foot, not by car. I wasn't worried about not being able to sell my goods. The rain, it came just as expected. Raindrops as big as beans pelted the ground, creating splashes the size of 1 yuan coins. It showed just how ferocious this rain was. It's raining. Cries of alarm rang out one after another. More people ran over from the distance, and the corridor became even more crowded. This is bad. How are we supposed to get home like this? Where's my child? Does anyone have an extra coat? Could you lend me one? Hearing the sounds from afar, I knew it was my time to appear. Without fearing the heavy rain outside, I immediately grabbed a big box and ran towards the corridor. Opportunity always favors the prepared. Selling disposable umbrellas, disposable raincoats here. In just a short distance, my clothes were already soaked through. The worried parents in the corridors' eyes lit up when they saw this. You have umbrellas and raincoats? They're disposable, but the quality is absolutely great. The raincoats are all the thick kind, and you can still use the umbrellas after you take them home. I repeated the wholesale market owner's words exactly. How much? The parents immediately surrounded me and the big box, mainly because it looked like the stock was limited. Umbrellas are 20 yuan each, raincoats are 5 yuan, no bargaining. If you don't believe me, just look at the quality. As I spoke, I opened an umbrella and a raincoat for the parents to see. Give me 2 raincoats. Unexpectedly, the parents didn't hesitate after hearing the price. A 5 or 10 yuan item used in an emergency was an acceptable purchase. Besides, it wasn't easy for the seller either. His clothes were soaked. How could they have the face to bargain? I'll take 1 too. Give me a raincoat. Boss, I'll take 50 raincoats. In an instant, the crowd swamped me. I also wore the laminated QR code around my neck and started doing business. A box of raincoats sold out in less than 10 minutes. It was mainly because there were too many people. Everyone, don't rush. I still have more over there. I'll go get them right now. Hearing the ting of money coming into my WeChat, I was full of energy. Ignoring the heavy rain outside, I just dashed out. Meanwhile, in the apartment, Suyue was pacing restlessly, holding her phone. Her small face was filled with sorrow, and her crescent-shaped eyes were full of complex emotions. What on earth are you doing? Looking at the WeChat chat with me, which was a sea of green, it seemed she sent a message every few minutes. Ever since I left, she had been feeling uneasy. Although I promised her that during this time, I wouldn't mess around with other women, and she believed my promise. but she just couldn't feel at ease, especially after it started raining outside. She thought I would definitely be home, but unexpectedly, I still hadn't returned. It was almost 6 o'clock now, and even though I said I'd be back to cook dinner, I wasn't. Say something. Are you in bed with another woman? She sent another message. Still no reply. I'm about to throw your luggage out. Suyue bit her lip. Seeing my suitcase still in the bedroom, a layer of mist covered her eyes. It was one thing for me to only have the baby in my heart, and not her, but she absolutely could not accept me fooling around outside. She tapped on the voice call button, but couldn't bring herself to press it. Suyui's eyes darkened. What would she hear if she called? Would she hear me being lovey-dovey with another woman? You bastard! Suyue sent another message and threw her phone down furiously. Like a little lion cub going crazy because its favorite toy was stolen, her chest heaved unsteadily. She stood up, intending to kick the suitcase. She raised her foot and then lowered it. She wiped her tears and returned to the bed. She wrapped the thin blanket tightly around herself and curled up in the corner of the bed. Boss, give me a raincoat. The raincoats are sold out. Then an umbrella is fine too. The umbrellas are also sold out. Sorry, everything's sold out. In less than an hour, only a few empty boxes remained. All the goods were sold out completely. The corridor wasn't as crowded anymore. Everyone was wearing colorful disposable raincoats. Some were walking home under transparent umbrellas, and occasionally you could see parents with their children playing in the puddles wearing raincoats. I didn't expect that. Selling raincoats, I would witness such a heartwarming scene. I was too busy this afternoon to check my phone. I texted, coming home now. Soon a line appeared at the top. The other person is typing. But after waiting a whole minute, I still didn't see a message from Suyue. I knew I should go home. Otherwise, who knows what Suyue at home would be wildly imagining. Looking at the rain outside, it would probably stop soon. I opened my wallet and took a look. 11,900 yuan. My heart skipped a beat. This was my revenue from less than an hour's work, minus the 2,000 yuan cost. The net profit was nearly 10,000 yuan. Although my calculation wasn't exact, I knew this kind of opportunity only comes once. But that didn't affect my happiness. After waiting for another 10 minutes or so, the rain finally subsided. It was getting dark, and the city park had long since quieted down. I decided not to wait anymore and went home. After all, my clothes were already soaked. I ran out of the park, stumbling through the puddles. The sound of the door unlocking was heard. Suyue, who was sitting on the sofa, immediately stood up and went into the bedroom and pulled out my suitcase. With a furious expression, she intended to throw both me and my suitcase out. But when she saw me walk in, drenched like a drowned rat, carrying large and small bags in my hands, the words on the tip of her tongue got stuck. The expression on her face froze. What's wrong? Why did you pull my suitcase out? I stood at the door, water dripping from my body, soaking the cute little mat in front of the door. Suyue opened her mouth. The anger bar that was originally full, upon seeing my sorry state, she suddenly didn't know what to say. Besides, I smelled of sweat mixed with rainwater, not a hint of another woman's scent. The truth didn't seem to be what she had thought. However, despite that, she still pursed her lips, putting on a front. What were you doing? Her tone was stiff, finding it a bit hard to back down. Didn't I tell you when I left? I had to go out and earn money. As I spoke, I lifted the bag in my hand. I'm back too late, so I didn't cook tonight. With my movement, a fragrant smell wafted out of the bag. Yui sniffed. She smelled braised duck and also spicy blood jelly, all her favorites, especially when she saw the QR code for payment hanging on my chest. The heart that had been hanging in suspense all afternoon finally settled down. But at the same time, all her confidence vanished. She couldn't even pretend anymore. Her body, already shorter than mine, seemed to shrink even more. You still haven't answered me. Why did you pull out my suitcase? I smirked, a hint of teasing in my eyes. Yui lowered her head, her face burning hot. But she still looked up, her crescent-shaped eyes a little evasive. Can't I exercise? Exercise? The teasing in my eyes became more obvious as I said with a half-smile. I think you wanted to sweep me out of the house. Suyue was instantly like a little cat whose tail had been stepped on. She snapped her head up, her cheeks puffed up. I did not. You didn't, Suyue said firmly, but she didn't dare to look me in the eye. I touched my chin. It's best that you didn't. I thought after you tricked me out of my superior genes, you'd turn your back on me. However, you wouldn't dare. Being a single mother isn't easy. With a child in tow later on, no one would want to marry you. Pfft, you're the one nobody wants. Suyue scolded playfully, then turned and pushed the suitcase towards the bedroom. Her steps were a bit panicked, but she quickly came out again, holding several sets of clothes in her hands and handed them to me. Hurry up and change your clothes. Yui handed over the clothes. Seeing me take the clothes with a cheerful expression, she immediately gnashed her teeth fiercely. Don't get any ideas, I'm not worried about you. You haven't given me the money yet? I don't want my child to be born without a father. I wasn't getting any ideas? What are you talking about? I raised an eyebrow. It's good that you're not. Suyue picked up the food, huffed coldly, and turned to leave. If she had known, she wouldn't have bothered getting clothes for him. She'd let this scumbag freeze to death. After setting the food on the dining table, Su Yue sat at the table and looked back. Noticing I still hadn't come out of the bathroom, she immediately breathed a sigh of relief. She cupped her blushing face and patted it gently. Thinking of the scene when I walked in, she felt an inexplicable joy. It turns out he really wasn't fooling around outside, but he started teasing her the moment he got back, making her both shy and angry, that damn scumbag. While muttering curses at the stinking scumbag, her eyes were quickly drawn to the food on the table, which exuded a fragrant aroma. Gulp. They were all her favorite dishes. She had eaten lightly all day, so for dinner, she really wanted to eat something, rich to indulge her taste buds. How did this guy know what to buy? Just then, the bathroom door opened. Su Yue immediately sat up straight. I walked out, drying my still damp hair, and saw Su Yue like a good student, sitting obediently at the dining table. Even my bowl of rice had been neatly placed on the table. I couldn't help but smile, sat down, and picked up my bowl. Let's eat. You might not be hungry, but my child is. Su Yue shot me a glare, then picked up her bowl and began to wolf down her food. The first bite had just entered her mouth, and her crescent eyes visibly lit up. It's so delicious. I was charmed by that petite, cute appearance of hers. I have to say, although Su Yue took big bites, it wasn't off-putting at all. On the contrary, it was very healing, and it made the observer's appetite grow as well. Noticing my gaze, Su Yue subconsciously paused, then slowed down her movements, so she can be shy. I chuckled. Not bad compared to this afternoon. Your sense of responsibility has improved. My praise made Su Yue's chewing pause. Remembering how I said this morning that she was irresponsible, starving the baby, she immediately chewed more vigorously, as if to prove herself that she was very responsible, and it was also as if she were chewing on my bones. I'm full. Su Yue put down her bowl. Her emotions had stabilized and her jaw was tired. Besides, she wouldn't do the same foolish thing as she did this morning. When she was full, she wouldn't force herself to eat more. I pretended to check her bowl and nodded with satisfaction. However, Su Yue didn't leave the table immediately. She waited for me to finish eating before standing up, intending to clear the table. She hadn't done anything all day, and she felt a bit like a freeloader. She couldn't just eat and do nothing forever. Since it was all takeaway boxes, cleaning up was easy. I stood up, hands behind my back, like a big shot, strolling towards the bedroom. Seeing this, Su Yue wrinkled her nose. Humph. Unexpectedly, I suddenly turned my head back. What are you humphing about? Do you know how much I earned today? How much did you earn? Su Yue blurted out. You want to know? I stopped and raised an eyebrow. Su Yue's curiosity was completely piqued. She hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Seeing that, I grinned widely. This money of mine wasn't easy to earn, you know. Su Yue tilted her head doubtfully at me. So, how much did you earn in total? I didn't beat around the bush anymore. I just pointed my finger at my cheek. My gaze fell on Su Yue's soft, plump lips. The intention was clear without needing to be said. Su Yue's crescent eyes gradually widened. It was as if the words, shameless person, were written on her face. Shameless, I don't care. After saying that, she lowered her head and continued clearing the table. Her earlobes had unknowingly turned, a delicate pink peeking out from under her hair. Don't care? If you don't care, then forget it. I chuckled softly, turned around with my hands behind my back and continued, walking towards the bedroom. Look, I really had no intention of telling her. Su Yue couldn't help but huff coldly. My ears twitched, and I kept walking. Su Yue huffed coldly again. It wasn't until I closed the bedroom door that Su Yue's eyes darkened. Her movements while clearing the table became much rougher. If you won't tell me, fine. I don't want to know anyway. On the other side, I went into the bedroom, humming a tune as I started to unpack my luggage. From now on, I'm a permanent resident here, so I have to put my clothes in the wardrobe. Opening the wardrobe, a pure fragrance wafted into my nose. It was refreshing and pleasant. Because Su Yue is quite frugal, she doesn't have many clothes. Moreover, it's summer now, the clothes are all thin, so the wardrobe wasn't full. I pushed her clothes to one side and then hung my own clothes in. Then I looked at both of our clothes in the wardrobe and clapped my hands in satisfaction. Nice, isn't this another big step forward? Now that the clothes are hung up, there's no way you're getting me to take them out. What are you doing? Su Yue, who had just finished clearing the table with a tense face, walked in and saw both of our clothes in the wardrobe. You are in me, and I am in you. Her crescent eyes turned into wide, round orbs. I glanced at Su Yue's stomach, letting the baby get used to my scent in advance. Su Yue opened her mouth and found that for a moment she couldn't think of a way to refute this scumbag. He just bullies her. So angry her face became round, suppressing the urge to bite me. She huffily kicked off her slippers and climbed onto the bed. I saw the pink soles of her feet. If she wore cat paw socks, it would surely be a different kind of flavor. Unfortunately, they only flashed before my eyes, before disappearing under the blanket. Su Yue leaned against the headboard and picked up a textbook from the nightstand to flip through. It seems I wasn't bothering her, There was still a pile of clothes in the bathroom waiting to be washed. By the time I finished, it was past 8 o'clock. I collected the clothes washed in the morning and hung up the newly washed clothes. Seeing me walk in with the underwear, the shock of seeing my large hand holding her underwear made Su Yue, who had no mind to read, blush instantly. Her eyes avoided mine, watching me neatly fold the underwear and put it in the wardrobe. Remembering what I had just said, her face grew even hotter, so scared that her long legs instinctively clamped together. After they were clamped, I checked for a bit, saw that the cleaning was done, and flopped onto the bed. Right under me were Su Yue's legs. Su Yue, who was embarrassed, reflexively pulled her legs back, shrinking to the head of the bed, revealing the pink soles of her feet, which were just as rosy and lovely as her face. Seeing this, I grabbed Su Yue's leg, pulled her over, face to face with her. "You, what are you doing?" Su Yue couldn't pretend anymore. The textbook in her hand fell to the side, her arm braced between us. But how could she support my weight of over 50 ki? The two of us kept getting closer. "What are you trying to do?" Su Yue didn't dare to look at my burning gaze. The scent of male hormones filled her nostrils, making her unable to muster any strength. She shut her eyes tightly. Her eyelashes trembled, her tone softened, with a hint of pleading for mercy. "What do you think?" "Of course, we're continuing to make a person." I gently caressed her cheek. Su Yue opened her eyes in surprise, her crescent eyes filled with embarrassment and confusion. "Didn't we already?" "Already." "Yesterday?" As she spoke, her voice grew quieter and quieter, weakly pushing me away with her arm. "You think having a baby is that easy, a one-shot success?" Su Yue's eyes widened, her strength ebbing away like the tide. Wait a minute, what's wrong? You have to tell me today how much money you made." Su Yue's limp arm blocked the space between us, her expression resolute, as if to say, "Don't even think about doing anything if you don't tell me." I burst out laughing, completely defeated by her cuteness. We're already at this point, and she still has the mind to think about that. I don't know if I should say her curiosity is too strong or if she really wants to delay for these few seconds. "You want to know?" "The condition hasn't changed." I grabbed her hand and raised it above her head, holding it tight with one hand, then pointed to my lips with the other. Su Yue's eyes immediately widened. "Your condition just now wasn't like this. Can't be helped. The market price is always fluctuating. Price has gone up. You're shameless. So, do you still want to know?" "No." Su Yue squeezed her eyes shut, her eyelashes straining with effort. But feeling the warmth getting closer and closer, she hurriedly opened her eyes again. "I already said, I don't want to know anymore, but this is part of the baby-making process. I haven't finished talking." Her lips were sealed tightly by mine. The air in the bedroom also turned sweet, especially when the first ray of morning sun shone in. Opening my eyes, I smelled a fragrance at the tip of my nose. I was in an extremely good mood. It turned out it wasn't the bedroom that smelled good, but Su Yue's hair. Looking at Su Yue still sleeping soundly beside me, my mood got even better. Because she was lying on her side, Su Yue's cheek was pressed against the pillow, pushing up a bit of chubby flesh which looked very pleasant to the touch. I reached out and poked it lightly, making Su Yue frown in her sleep. Joy surged in my heart again. I tiptoed out of bed, left the bedroom, and prepared breakfast. Su Yue was lured awake by the aroma. As she opened her eyes, her gaze was still hazy, like a crescent moon veiled by a thin layer of dark clouds. Looking at the bowl of steaming red date porridge on the bedside table, she still hadn't reacted. "Time to eat." Hearing this familiar voice and tone, Su Yue immediately sobered up. If she still didn't react, then the next sentence would definitely be, "You're starving my child." Besides, last night until the very end, she still didn't find out how much money I made. "You're truly shameless, you scumbag." Su Yue leaned against the headboard, her face a little pale from just waking up. She rested for a day yesterday, and her body had just barely recovered a little, but now it felt like it was about to fall apart again. It was all this scumbag's fault. Most importantly, will it still be like this in the future? Su Yue bit her lip. Her expression right after waking up looked dazed. Noticing I was by the bed, she glanced over, her gaze extremely fierce. I just pretended not to see it. "You can't stop a lion cub from baring its fangs and claws. Anyway, we have a long road ahead of us. You like baring your teeth, huh? Then bare them all you want. Eat." I pushed the bowl of porridge into Su Yue's hands. Today's breakfast was red date porridge. Without needing to lower her head, Su Yue could smell the fragrant aroma. The color was also very appealing, making one unable to resist swallowing. Her favorite was preserved egg and lean pork congee, a little salty with a rich aroma, or this kind of light and sweet red date porridge. These two were her favorites. After one bite, she squinted her eyes comfortably, like a small cat having its belly scratched. Her dry lips were moistened, glistening under the sunlight. Her complexion also became much rosier. So delicious. Her mood improved as well. Su Yue's already gentle eyes became even softer. But when she saw me sitting on the edge of the bed, looking at her hand holding the spoon, she suddenly put some more strength into it. Taking another bite, she brought the spoonful of porridge to her mouth and asked nonchalantly, "How much money did you make yesterday?" I chuckled softly. This girl is really too curious, and she's even deliberately pretending not to care. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Suyui's eyebrows shot up. She was completely eaten up yesterday. Even if it was a joke, I should tell her now. Or maybe he never intended to tell her at all. A sense of grievance welled up in her eyes. She sipped the porridge in small mouthfuls and didn't bother talking anymore. What are you doing? Playing games with me so early in the morning? If this drama affects our child, then you'll just have to regret it. Suyue immediately felt even more aggrieved, but she suddenly discovered something. Seeing me waving a phone and even picking up Suyue's phone, holding it in front of her and telling her to look, Suyue's eyes widened visibly. Looking at me, her eyes were full of disbelief. A 10,000 yuan transfer via WeChat? It was 10,000 yuan that I transferred to her. I'm quite busy, so you can manage the household finances for now. I acted nonchalantly, waving my hand, starting to show off. You made 10,000 yuan yesterday? Su Yue didn't even bother drinking her porridge anymore. She absolutely couldn't believe I could make so much money. I was only out for one afternoon. Eat your porridge? Are you just going to eat the bowl? I'll eat. Su Yue nodded obediently, her small mouth slurping the porridge while her eyes remained glued to me. I was truly defeated by this look of hers. I couldn't help it. I reached out and ruffled her already messy hair, making it even messier. It felt great to the touch. And I spoke before Suyui could bear her fangs. Suyui didn't even mind her hair being messed up by me. Her face was full of astonishment. Yes, it was at the city garden. Selling at the city garden to those students on their picnic. Suyue immediately understood. Smart. It seems my child won't have to worry about their IQ. I snapped my fingers, which earned me a scorching glare from Suyue. But this glare was filled with a little bit of joy. He really went to do proper work, and he even gave all the money he earned to her. Actually, he's not that bad. Oh no, just a little bit of a scumbag. His essence is still very good. But Suyui's curiosity still wasn't completely satisfied. How did you know it would rain yesterday? I know how to divine the future. I was about to bullshit a little. Hearing that, Suyue didn't give me a chance to finish. She raised her head, revealing her slender neck, finished the porridge in one go, and then shoved the bowl straight into my hands. Get out, I want to sleep more. Watching Suyue whoosh and dive under the covers, having been cut off mid-sentence, I hadn't even had time to react to my bullshit being interrupted. Not until I felt a small foot intentionally kick my butt did I realize Suyue was kicking me out. You're just burning the bridge after crossing it? Go on. You're so ungrateful. You're just burning the bridge after crossing it. Suyue only poked her head outside. Who told you to keep me in suspense like that? I'm not interested in hearing your bullshit anymore. Seeing this, I was initially a bit caught off guard, but then I thought of something. A smile appeared on my face again. I stood up and looked down at Suyue from above. I actually had another big money-making plan, and I was going to share it with you for the sake of our child. But since it's like this, forget it. Sigh, I said while shaking my head and walking out. On the bed, Suyue, who had been feeling smug, was suddenly stunned. Her two small hands gripped the edge of the blanket tightly. Her crescent-shaped eyes widened. Wait, too late. Take good care of my child, otherwise, when the child is born, you'll let it know its mother is a bad woman. I clutched my heart in extreme pain and rushed out the door. If I don't run fast, I won't be able to keep up the act. In the kitchen, I cleaned up the breakfast leftovers while humming happily, in a very good mood. It seems Suyui's condition today has recovered quite a bit. She can joke around with me now. Besides, with such strong curiosity, I don't believe Suyui can resist asking about my money-making method. After finishing the cleaning perfectly, I went to another room. Besides trying to remember as much as possible, I also looked up recipes to learn how to cook. In the next bedroom, Suyue rolled out of the blanket, hugging her phone. Looking at the 10,000 yuan she had received, she rolled around on the bed. She was very happy. This didn't seem to be much about the money, but because she saw me making an effort. But soon, a melancholy look appeared on her face again. The scumbag made 10,000 yuan. Suyue's heart was in turmoil. This amount of money wasn't much compared to her savings, but I told her to manage the household finances, which made her feel like the mistress of the house. Anyway, I'm going abroad after giving birth. A mist clouded her eyes. Her arm swung forcefully through the air. She accidentally bumped her aching waist, immediately gritting her teeth. Her long legs clamped onto the blanket. Remembering last night's events, her face turned even redder. He's not tricking me, is he? She fumbled for the phone under her pillow, secretly turning her head to look towards the bedroom door. Hearing no movement outside, she secretly opened Baidu. How many times between a man and a woman does it take to get pregnant? The search results page appeared. Suyue's eyes widened. All sorts of strange technical terms. She couldn't understand them, but she could understand the number, 5 times. Some people take half a year, and it also depends on the woman's constitution. Suyue's teeth ached just reading it. So what about my constitution? Remembering what I said before, it seemed like he wasn't talking nonsense. She really had to take good care of her health, otherwise she would really be done for. She weakly tossed her phone away and burrowed her whole body deep into the blanket. In the other room, I still didn't know that Su Yue was trying to calm herself down psychologically. I was looking at the newly created plan on the computer, nodding with satisfaction. Regarding the healthy child development plan, this was something I had just come up with. I arranged tasks for every time slot of the day, otherwise Su Yue would get very bored. Since Su Yue is a tutor, she also has a home printer, which came in handy. I printed the plan out directly and stuck it on the back of the front door. The morning always passes quickly. Besides, Su Yue has to go teach this afternoon. I cooked lunch quite early. Time for lunch. I knocked on the bedroom door. As soon as Su Yue came out of the bedroom, she saw the plan on the back of the door. Healthy Child Development Plan. Su Yue curiously took 2 steps forward. Monday, Tuesday were all small daily things, for example, exercising at home after work hours, etc. But Su Yue saw a small line of text below and frowned. When weather conditions permit, the two must go for a walk together every evening, both to exercise and to maintain a happy mood so the child can adapt to the night before being born. Su Yue looked at me, confused. This is because I'm worried the child will be afraid of the dark when it's born. So we go for a walk in the evening to let the child know the liveliness outside. Consider it adapting in advance. I also walked over to explain to her. Then why is it mandatory for 2 people to go together? Su Yue frowned. Then you can go by yourself. I indicated that if she likes to walk alone at night, then it's fine with me. Su Yue was immediately speechless, but she pointed to another small line of text. What about this one? What does at least 1 date per week mean? Her crescent-shaped eyes looked at me with a bit of anticipation and shyness. She had never been on a date before. This is so the child can feel the warmth of love, to plant the seed of love in the child's heart so that when it grows up, it will be a loving person. Her eyes darkened. Su Yue lowered her head and replied sullenly, then turned and walked towards the dining table. At the same time, the sense of grievance in her heart spread. She had no objection to the plan, but every word out of his mouth was about the child, never straying. Even the dates were for the child. Don't I have any charm at all? But thinking about how she still had to go abroad, she felt a little comforted. This is good too. It'll be less painful to leave then. Su Yue smiled bitterly. Looking at the exquisite dishes on the table, the frustration in her heart suddenly lessened quite a bit. She looked at me suspiciously. I always managed to cook the dishes she liked, and suddenly she felt I wasn't so hateful anymore. But her eyes glanced at the plan behind the door. She snorted lightly and picked up her bowl, starting to eat like a hamster. I also sat down, occasionally glancing at Su Yue. Whether I received a glare or was ignored, there was always a smile on my face, as if she was the most delicious side dish. This sometimes made Su Yue have the illusion that I might like her. Finally, Su Yue couldn't hold it in anymore. I have to go to work this afternoon. I know, so you have to eat a lot for lunch. Su Yue looked at me in surprise. I thought you would use protecting the child as an excuse to not let me go to work. After all, for the past 2 days, she had been living like a canary in a cage. Moreover, I even told her to eat more. This small gesture of concern made the food in front of her taste much better. Is it possible that him liking me isn't an illusion? Su Yue's face darkened. She forcefully chewed the rice she had just put in her mouth. I was wrong. I shouldn't have any illusions about this scumbag. But this indulgent attitude of mine still made her a little happy. She took the initiative to speak. After work, he'll come home early. Good, very well behaved, deserves a reward. Seeing me smile brightly as I put food into her bowl, like rewarding an elementary school student, Su Yue suddenly regretted it. You're not anything to me. Why do I have to report to him like a good student? This food, eat up. It'll get cold soon. A tone echoed in her ear like, if you don't eat, you're the stepmother. Su Yue shrank her neck and buried her face in her bowl, eating hard. After 2 mouthfuls, her movements paused again. Why do I have to listen to him? Her curved eyes were full of confusion. Su Yue felt like she was about to fall apart. I think I'm sick. Whatever the scumbag says, I instinctively follow. So for the rest of the time, she didn't talk anymore, but focused on shoveling rice. Just a little absent-mindedly. After eating, she went back to her room to prepare teaching materials. This time, I didn't bother her. I know Su Yue is an extremely responsible tutor. Thanks to her efforts, she has a bit of a reputation in the tutoring circle. Parents often compete to have her teach their children, so her income is actually not low. This is also why she dared to set the goal of going abroad to add to her credentials. For Su Yue, this isn't just a job. So I won't take away the right for Su Yue to strive for her dreams. But work is work. I have to mark my territory on Su Yue to prevent those parents with ulterior motives from getting any ideas. After all, for the past few years, those parents were always waiting for a chance to set Su Yue up with someone. Although I know Su Yue never agreed, I absolutely will not allow this to happen. In the room, Su Yue sat on the bed, naked. Several sets of clothes were laid out on the bed. There was some hesitation on her face. She picked up a set of clothes and held it against her body. Discovering it still couldn't cover some marks on her body, she couldn't help but grit her teeth and curse. Her small face blushed again. She covered her face with her hands and pressed. These past 2 days have been like a dream. So crazy. especially since I don't know when I had left some marks on her. Luckily, her clothes could barely cover them. The most obvious spot was on her collarbone, which made her feel a bit awkward. Scumbag, this is all you're doing. Just then, footsteps suddenly came from outside the door. Immediately after, I pushed the door open and walked in. Take these things with you. Suyue, like a frightened little rabbit, hurriedly pulled the thin blanket up to cover herself completely. But I only glanced over. Seeing the clothes on the bed, I knew what she was doing. My eyes couldn't help but light up. Such a good method, why didn't I think of it? Don't you know how to knock before entering? Suyue glared at me fiercely, but it had no effect on me. It might even have been counterproductive. Why knock? I thought you were secretly trying to harm my child. I strode towards the bed. Suyue immediately shrank back. You? What are you planning to do? Let me tell you, it's daytime. I still have to go to work. Her crescent-shaped eyes were full of panic. My current state was very similar to me from last night. Suyue shrank into the corner of the bed. She suddenly realized I wasn't lunging at her. I didn't even look at her. Instead, I reached out and picked up the school bag on the bed. She could also see clearly what I was holding. 2 boxes and a plush keychain. The 2 boxes contained small biscuits and a drink, respectively. There was also a sticky note on top with the words, "Afternoon tea for my child's mother," written on it. There was also a smiley face drawn, which looked both ugly and cute. Remember to take this out and eat it this afternoon. I'll video call to check on you randomly. As I spoke, I even specially pointed at the sticky note on top. You're not allowed to tear this off. If you tear it off, my child won't recognize that this is what I prepared. Besides, I made a special mark when I stuck it on. Even if you tear it off and stick a new one on, I'll be able to tell. Suyui's eyes widened, watching me put the 2 boxes into her school bag. Her Adam's apple bobbed slightly. Then, what if it accidentally falls off? I glanced at her and let out a sarcastic chuckle. Do you think I'm an idiot? Suyue immediately fell silent, watching me pack her school bag for her, just like a father getting his child ready for school. Finally, I even hung the keychain that was in my hand onto the outside of the bag. It was a cute chibi figure of a girl and a child, looking extremely adorable. After hanging it, I flicked it satisfyingly with my hand. The 2 dolls immediately swayed back and forth. This represents my child and you. Since the child is in your hands right now, I'm temporarily entrusting the child's image to your care. If you lose it, it's your responsibility. After speaking, I placed the school bag on the bedside table, turned around and left. When I reached the door, I suddenly turned my head back to look at the bed. Suyue, who was cowering like a quail, suddenly let out a silly laugh. Still being so formal with me, lost. Suyue blushed and shouted with her eyes closed. When she opened her eyes again, I was no longer in the room. Looking at the school bag on the headboard, the 2 hanging dolls were smiling brightly. She suddenly didn't want to go to work at all. Suyue didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Another half an hour passed. Suyue was fully prepared before she put on her backpack and walked out of the room. It was still the same simple style of dress as before. A loose, solid-colored sportswear set, a round-neck sports t-shirt, which was also the only shirt that barely covered her collarbone. Her hair wasn't tied up, intentionally let down, also to cover up, but it didn't lose its youthful vibe. She wore light makeup on her face, her smiling eyes adding to her sweetness. Wearing a backpack, she still looked like a recent college graduate. Seeing me on the sofa, she snorted coldly. I stood up, intentionally yet unintentionally revealing my electric scooter key. The key also had a keychain on it, a cute little boy figure. Remember to eat the food in your backpack. I glanced at her stomach. I know. Suyue rubbed her flat stomach, replied irritably, and opened the door to leave. But after taking 1 step out, she stopped, turned her head back, half of her body outside the door, half inside. Her smiling eyes curved as she looked at me, with a hint of ingratiation and shyness. What's this big money-making plan you were talking about? You want to know? I laughed. I knew she wouldn't be able to resist asking. I took 2 steps forward, almost pressing against Suyue. We could smell each other's scent. One elbow rested on the door frame, the other hand lightly touched my own lips. Seeing the corner of my mouth curve up, Suyue bit her lip. A flash of anger from embarrassment appeared in her eyes. She knew it. I wouldn't say those things to her for no reason. He was flirting. But I'm really curious. Recalling a similar experience from last night, she closed her eyes with determination. I'll just stand on my tiptoes. I'll just pretend I'm kissing a piece of fatty pork. But Suyue didn't notice the raised door sill at her feet. Before the 2 of us even touched, she tripped. Her body lost its balance, and she immediately opened her eyes in panic. Then she saw my face getting closer and closer. A strange sensation came from her lips. It hurts. She could also feel a warm wetness, bringing a bit of comfort. Suyue had originally intended for it to be a light touch, but because her center of gravity fell towards me, she couldn't pull away immediately, until she felt another softness brush past her lips. Suyu, we frantically stood up straight, glaring at me angrily. You even dared to use your tongue. If anything happens to the baby, I'll tell it that I'm its stepmother. I squatted down, looking like I wished I could examine Suyue's stomach with a magnifying glass, cutting off whatever Suyue was about to say. Suyue opened her mouth, then hurriedly rubbed her belly. Luckily, it's okay, otherwise you'd be dead. After a long while, I stood up with a look of relief as if I had just escaped a disaster. Su Yue, who was a little flustered, suddenly burst out laughing. Immediately after, she felt it wasn't appropriate to laugh, so she quickly suppressed it. "What are you laughing at?" I also realized something was wrong. My lip seemed to hurt a little. I wiped it and found that it was bleeding. Seeing Su Yue's gloating expression, I couldn't help but sneer. "You think you're any better off?" Su Yue was stunned. Thinking about how forces are reciprocal, she quickly took a small mirror out of her bag. Looking at her own numb lips, her small face fell. She wasn't bleeding, but her lips were clearly starting to swell, like she had put on too much lipstick. But an experienced person would know what happened just by looking, and she still had to go teach. Her small hand kept wiping her lips. The harder she wiped, the faster they swelled. My voice rang out. So Yui immediately stopped her actions, carefully rubbing her lips. "Tell me, what's the use of being so curious?" "No, wait, I still haven't told you what the big money-making plan is. So now can you tell me what that plan is?" Su Yue had given up on her lips. She was past caring. Seeing that Su Yue seemed to have thought it through with the look of someone who had nothing to lose, I hid the smile in my eyes and put on a serious face. Seeing this, Su Yue also quickly stood up straight and even took out her notebook. "The short video platform, Mo Yin, you know it?" "I do." Su Yue nodded. "The big money-making plan is there. I have a script right now. I guarantee we can be the first to profit." Su Yue frowned, rubbing her still numb lips. She didn't understand what a script and a short video platform had to do with each other. Isn't that a platform for sharing beautiful scenery and showing off skills? But she still chose to trust my judgment. "Anyway, I've already paid the price. What's the script?" Pretending to be lovers or a fake married couple and filming some videos that people like to watch, I laid out my plan. Su Yue narrowed her eyes. Her hand that was massaging her lips paused. "Pretending to be lovers or a married couple?" "Yes, this is my plan. Do you want to do it with me?" A glint appeared in Su Yue's smiling eyes. Her gaze was like an interrogation. She stared at my newly swollen red lips and then smirked. It was originally a teasing expression, but now it looked a bit strange. "Are you sure it's pretending to be lovers or a fake couple?" Looking at Su Yue's eyes, I felt a little guilty. I couldn't deny this good friend of mine was quite sharp. However, my expression didn't show it, and I just nodded. "You're not." Su Yue put on her backpack, completely different from her usual self, who was always overwhelmed by me. She even took 2 steps closer to me, the beautiful girl's aggressiveness fully on display. "You don't actually like me, so you're deliberately approaching me like this, right?" Su Yue's pupils sparkled, the black and white distinct. The surprise on my face was unconcealed. "You even figured that out?" The moment the words left my mouth, Su Yue immediately lost interest. She turned and stepped into the elevator, spitting out a word before leaving. "Pfft, scumbag, I'd have to be crazy to believe you." "All right, if you believe the words of a scumbag, then congratulations on becoming a fish in a scumbag's fish pond." The elevator doors closed. I breathed a sigh of relief. It seems this girl today is in a really good mood. She's even learned how to fight back. But what I said was the truth. You're the one who doesn't believe it. I whistled and went back inside. In the elevator, Su Yue couldn't hide her disappointment. She couldn't detect any sign that I liked her. It seemed that all the care I showed her was only for the baby. Why am I overthinking this? I'm going abroad soon anyway? Silently touching her still numb lips, Su Yue took a face mask from her backpack and finally felt a sense of security after putting it on. At home, I wasn't idle either, but opened a certain document on my computer, which was already filled with nearly 2,000 words. This was all about short videos, some fragmented plans, and small inspirations. Short videos are definitely the money-making trend for ordinary people in the next few years. Of course, I wouldn't miss it, and I had to start preparing right now to get in on it as early as possible. Moreover, I knew very well that not long after, the short video platform would also launch a series of activities to encourage nationwide creation. I must get the first slice of the pie. Of course, I would pull Su Yue in to participate. As for whether Su Yue would agree or not, I wasn't worried at all, because Su Yue was short on money. I smirked, touching the wound on my lip. I sucked in a sharp breath of cold air. I ran to the bathroom. That was a really hard hit. Remembering the moment Su Yue fell into me, I couldn't help but reminisce. We just separated, and I already miss her after less than half an hour. Achoo! At the same time, in the study of a student's home, Su Yue, who was tutoring, also sneezed. "Oh my, Teacher Wei, I'm so sorry we got caught in the rain yesterday. My child might have a slight cold and passed it on to you." The middle-aged woman brought in a fruit platter, entering with an apologetic look. "It's okay, Mom. You don't need to be so formal." Su Yue quickly waved her hands, remembering seeing the transparent umbrella hanging by the door when she came in. Was the umbrella by the door bought at the city park yesterday? "That's right, Teacher Wei. You wouldn't believe it if it weren't for that young man selling umbrellas there yesterday." Hearing the first-hand account, an image of me selling umbrellas in the rain, yesterday appeared in Su Yue's mind. He must have been very busy, very disheveled, and I misunderstood him. I was even going to throw his suitcase out. Thinking of this, her eyes curved and the corners of her mouth lifted under the mask. He really didn't lie to me, and he even gave me all the money from selling the umbrellas. The umbrella buyer didn't even know. The two of us earning money for one household. This feeling that only the two of us knew this secret brought a small surge of joy to her heart. Teacher Wei? The student's parents saw Su Yuwei was a bit dazed and couldn't help but take 2 steps forward. Teacher Wei, take off your mask and try some fruit. My nephew sent this fruit from our hometown. It's very sweet. No, that's not necessary. Su Yuwei quickly refused. The mask, it couldn't be taken off. Oh, don't be so polite. By the way, Teacher Wei, this nephew is the one I told you about last time. He's a very nice person. Faced with the parents' enthusiasm, Su Yuwei suddenly saw her backpack. Mom, I brought my own food. Su Yuwei blushed, holding up her backpack. The 2 hanging dolls on it were very conspicuous. A sweet feeling welled up in her heart, even though she was wearing a mask. A smile overflowed from her eyes. This made the student's parent pause. Immediately after, Su Yuwei pulled something else out of her backpack. Mommy of the kids, afternoon tea. Teacher, you have a boyfriend? Not only was the parent stunned, the student doing his homework was also immediately interested. I guess so. Su Yuwei blushed. Recalling the probing conversation at the door earlier, a flash of disappointment crossed her eyes. She slowly took off her mask. Mommy of the kids, afternoon tea. The student's parent stared blankly at the word on the sticky note on the box, looked at Su Yuwei's stomach, and then at Su Yuwei's flushed red lips. As if she had understood something, she slapped her forehead. Oh my, Teacher Wei, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were already married. Please wait a moment. After saying that, she strode out. That's not it, Mom. I'm not. Su Yuwei quickly stood up to explain but couldn't catch up to the parent. This was a huge misunderstanding. Su Yuwei's flushed face was full of frustration. Teacher, are you married? Just then, the student also climbed onto the desk, his face full of excitement and gossip. Su Yuwei turned her head, hiding the complex look in her eyes. Her face became stern. Have you finished your homework? I'm going to check it now. No, I'm not done writing. I won't ask anymore. The student immediately panicked and sat up straight, but instead of doing his homework, he looked at the small box on the table. Teacher? Can I try some? Looking at the cookies, of which there were only a few, Su Yuwei pursed her lips. You can only have one. I know your husband gave this to you. I just want to taste it. Su Yuwei gave the student a cookie and took one for herself, putting it in her mouth. She took a bite and her eyes lit up. It's so sweet, so delicious. Teacher, you're so happy. The student looked up with a mischievous face. Kids these days know a lot. The little boy couldn't wait. He wanted to use his smartwatch to inform his other classmates that Su Yuwei. If it's good, have another piece. Su Yuwei also smiled with narrowed eyes, a certain someone's figure lingering in her mind. I'm not eating it. This is what your husband made for you. When I grow up, you'll also have my husband make it for me. You're so young and already thinking about a husband. I said when I grow up? Then hurry up and do your homework obediently. Su Yuwei urged the student to do his work again, resting her chin on her elbow on the desk. Her thoughts had indeed drifted a bit far. Husband. Such a warm yet distant term. Time passed minute by minute, second by second, and today's tutoring session was about to end. The cookies and drinks were all gone. Su Yuwei neatly packed the empty box back into her backpack. Looking at her phone, a hint of disappointment crossed her face. Kaija-kun had said he would make a surprise video call to check on her, but no call came. What was he busy with again? Su Yuwei felt like she must be crazy. Kaija-kun not bothering her. Isn't that a good thing? While she was thinking, her phone beeped. It was a message from me. Su. Yuwei immediately opened it. Are you about to get off work? I'm waiting for you at the community gate. Su. Yuwei narrowed her eyes. The corners of her mouth curved up. She packed her things a bit faster. Teacher Wei, this is a chicken. It's already been cleaned. You can take it home to make soup. The student's parent came out at this moment carrying a prepared chicken. I can't accept this, Mom. I really can't take this. Su Yuwei, who had just put on her backpack, was scared by this generosity, feeling overwhelmed by the favor, and repeatedly refused. Oh, just take it. I didn't know you were married before. I thought you were single. I'm so embarrassed. This is a free-range chicken. You need the nutrition now. Take it. The student's parent didn't give her a chance to refuse and directly pushed the chicken into her hands. Su Yuwei looked at her stomach, knowing it was a misunderstanding, but it didn't seem to be a complete misunderstanding either. Teacher Wei, my child for so long, has always relied on you. If you don't accept this chicken, my whole family won't feel at ease. That's right, teacher. Take it home and ask your husband to make soup for you. The student, having finished his homework, also ran out, raised his wrist, while sharing today's news with his classmates. He also advised Su Yuwei. All right then, thank you, Mom, and thank you too, little one. Su Yuwei had no choice but to accept the chicken. You're welcome. Goodbye, teacher. Teacher Wei, let me walk you out. The student's parent walked Su Yuwei to the door. I was wondering why Teacher Wei looked different from before today. It turns out there's happy news, the parent muttered. Su Yuwei blushed, a little curious. Do I look different than before? Of course you're different, the student's parent said with an obvious expression. You're now radiating a motherly glow. You're also more beautiful than before. Your happiness is visible to the naked eye. Su Yui walked into the elevator carrying the chicken with an expression of not knowing whether to laugh or cry. She touched her belly. What is this? I have a motherly glow now? Moreover, happiness visible to the naked eye. Where would I get happiness from? My image appeared in her mind, and Su Yui's expression became complicated again. Happy. Happy my foot. The parent is just talking nonsense. I'd be a fool to believe it. Besides, it seems there's an unexplainable misunderstanding. Touching her hot little face, she suddenly saw the chicken in her hand and proudly pouted. Scumbag, didn't you say I have no sense of responsibility? If I had no sense of responsibility, would a parent give me a chicken? Carrying the chicken, Su Yui walked out of the elevator with her head held high and strode towards the community gate. Today I have to open that scumbag's eyes to how much the parents acknowledge my sense of responsibility. At the community gate, I parked my electric scooter by the roadside and stood beside it holding 2 baked pancakes, waiting for Su Yui to come out. I hadn't seen her all afternoon and I kind of missed her. I also wonder if she ate the cookies and drank the drink I prepared. In the future, when those parents see these things, they will definitely no longer have any intention of setting Su Yui up with anyone. Just as I thought of this, I started humming a tune, Kaijia-kun. Just then, someone suddenly called me from behind. I turned around and saw a girl in a round hat with a petite figure. The girl was still nibbling on a baked pancake, looking at me with pleasant surprise. It really is you, Brother Kun. The petite girl jogged all the way up to me, and the pleasant surprise on her face turned to indignation. Why did you delete me as a friend? You are. I was stunned for a long moment until a few indescribable images flashed in my mind. Then I suddenly realized. This was a second-generation rich girl I met at a bar before. The deepest impression she left on me was her small body, with great energy, and also her strong financial backing. As for her name, I had long forgotten it. After all, my memories were already from several years ago. If we follow the current timeline, the two of us met about a month ago, but I had already deleted her as a friend. What are you thinking? You think you can get away with it by playing dumb? The girl lightly patted my arm. I gave a bitter smile. These are all the romantic debts I've incurred. Why are you making that face? Not doing well lately? Hurry up and add me back as a friend tonight. This young lady will have a little contest with you. I guarantee it will make all your troubles disappear into thin air. I knew I couldn't escape this ordeal, so I took out my phone to add her back, just wanting her to leave quickly and not disturb the world of just me and Su Yui. All right, this young lady forgives you. After adding her back, the girl smugly threw me a flirtatious glance and got into a car by the roadside. Remember to answer the phone tonight. Bye-bye. After saying that, she left swaggeringly. I just scratched my head. What's with this? I've already cut ties with the past. I didn't expect to run into an old acquaintance on the main road. I opened WeChat again, clicked on the friend I just added, put them on the blacklist, deleted them, all in one go. Putting my phone back in my pocket, I watched the taillights of the car disappear into the distance, a smile forming on my lips. Sorry, buddy, but now I just want a home. Thinking of Su Yui, my heart warmed up. Wait a minute, Su Yui. I remembered that Su Yui hadn't come out yet. I turned my head back just in time to see Su Yui stepping onto the sidewalk. I immediately waved and rode my electric scooter over. Just as I was about to call Su Yui to get on, I suddenly realized Su Yui didn't seem to be in a good mood. She was walking with her head down, silently and sullenly, her little face puffed up in a pout. From my side view, her cheek looked like a little steamed bun, which made me feel a bit nostalgic. I glanced back towards the apartment complex. Did something happen at work to upset her? A questioning look flashed in my eyes. What's wrong today? You don't look very happy. Who angered the mother of my child? Su Yui stopped in her tracks, turning to look at her hand gripping her bag. It was clenched so tightly it turned pale. She opened her mouth wanting to ask who that woman from before was, but the words wouldn't come out. Sadness filled her crescent-shaped eyes. What am I to him anyway? What right do I have to interfere with him laughing and talking to other women? Remembering the scene she had just witnessed, Su Yui felt a suffocating tightness in her chest. Were you bullied? I stopped the scooter, planting one foot on the ground as I looked at her. Su Yui didn't say anything, not even bothering to say a single word to me. I inched forward towards her, a little closer, and lowered my voice. Hey, it's not that time of the month, is it? Su Yui's small face instantly flushed red. She looked around, and seeing no one passing by, she let out a sigh of relief. Then she saw me put on a reluctant and disappointed expression as I said, "Looks like I still need to work harder. It's really tiring." This gloating expression of his, as if he'd gotten a great deal, made Su Yui both embarrassed and angry. She raised her small fist and gave me a hard punch. Jerk, I was bullied. Bullied by a jerk like you. After saying that, she plopped down on the back seat. She didn't dare to linger there any longer in case I said something else outrageous. Seeing that she finally got on the scooter, I also breathed a sigh of relief. I reached out to take what she was carrying. An old hen. Who gave this to you? Hearing the surprise in my voice, Su Yui's childish pride flared up. She instinctively pouted, the rims of her eyes still a little red, which made her look even more adorable. A student's parent gave it to me. As she said this, Suyui's face turned red again. She was too embarrassed to say that the parent gave it to her for nourishment, so she said forcefully, "They said I was too responsible. I couldn't refuse it even if I wanted to." That's impressive. I put the chicken in the scooter's basket and reached back to give her a thumbs up. Then we'll have chicken tonight and give you some nourishment at the same time. Hold on tight, let's go. I pulled Suyui's hands around my waist. Hold on tight, don't fall off. Suyui's fingers touched my abs through my t-shirt and she subconsciously pressed down hard. The feeling was much clearer this time than the previous 2 times, so firm, it felt so secure. Don't move around, it's fine if a grown-up like you falls, but my child is still very small, it can handle any bumps. My voice came from the front. Hearing the 2 words, my child, Yui gritted her teeth. Her 2 fingers pinched the flesh on my soft waist through my shirt and twisted hard. "Ah, that kills, what are you doing?" I yelled out. Yui snapped out of it and looked around. They were waiting for a red light at an intersection and everyone around was looking at them. She instinctively buried her face in my back, and her hands in front didn't dare to be forceful anymore, only daring to mutter curses at me under her breath. I could feel the grievance coming from behind me, and it seemed I could feel Suyui's small mouth moving. Although her cursing was very quiet, the sound still traveled up my spine to my eardrums. A faint smile appeared on my face. It's good that she can still curse at people. Being able to curse is still better than being completely silent. Yui was clearly not in a good mood today. I don't know what happened, but it probably wasn't a problem with work, since a parent even gave her a chicken. I kept my questions to myself. Now that I'm with Yui day and night, I'll find out the reason sooner or later. I drove the electric scooter straight ahead, the gentle wind brushing against my face, watching the main road under the sunset, feeling incredibly happy inside. I felt the small face pressed against my back pull away, so I turned my head slightly and saw Yui squinting her eyes like a lazy cat, enjoying this moment of relaxation. The sunset shone on her face as if covering it with a red veil, making her crescent-shaped eyes look even more like the moon. "Yui, what are you doing?" Yui, who was enjoying the moment, frowned and replied resentfully, "This jerk only deserves this kind of attitude." Pointing towards the intersection ahead, "Do you see the traffic police officer up front?" Yui peeked out from behind me and saw a traffic police officer standing at the intersection, raising high towards us, a hand in a white glove. A look of doubt flashed in her eyes. "I see it. What's wrong?" Just as she finished speaking, her expression changed. "Oh no, we have to raise our hands." Yui was stunned, not understanding what I meant, but she still dazedly raised one hand. At that moment, I drove up in front of the police officer, who was a woman. I shouted loudly. The electric scooter zipped past her. Slap! Yui's hand slapped the policewoman's hand. Both of them were stunned. Immediately after, Yui's face turned bright red, and she quickly pulled her hand back and lowered her head. "What are you doing?" It was a high five. She was signaling you from so far away. "You have to be polite." The policewoman didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "You two, stop right there." 2 minutes later, on the side of the road, a man and a woman stood with their heads bowed, getting scolded. Yui kept her head down, thinking about how she had just high-fived a police officer. She was so embarrassed her ears turned red. She felt like every passerby was looking at her. She glanced at me beside her and gritted her teeth. "This jerk isn't human. Remember, finding you is not the goal. Wearing a helmet is being responsible for your own life. Do you understand?" After giving them a 20 yuan fine, the policewoman seriously explained the importance of helmets. My electric scooter's top speed is only 30, and we had both admitted our mistake with a sincere attitude, so she didn't pursue it further. "Well, remember, officer, we're sorry." Yui nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. The policewoman also showed a satisfied expression. "That's right, officer. It won't happen again. It's mainly because she's pregnant." "Pregnant? Then you should be even more careful about safety, handsome young man. You need to reflect on your actions." The officer lectured me again. Yui kept her head bowed low, her eyes staring at a manhole cover. "I understand you two are excited, but you can't let this happen again, okay? I'm giving you a helmet, and this teddy bear too." The policewoman brought a teddy bear and pushed it into Yui's hands. "Speaking of which, I have to say a few more things to you. You can't be so careless when you're pregnant. Hurry up and go home." "Thank you, officer." Holding the teddy bear and the helmet, Yui was on the verge of tears. Putting on the helmet, she profusely thanked the officer and left with me. I sat in the front, driving, shaking with laughter. Yui held the teddy bear with one hand and held on to me with the other, so angry she was grinding her teeth, but she couldn't pull her hand away. "Are you still laughing? Seriously? Am I not allowed to laugh either? I'll bite you to death." Having no other choice, Yui became flustered, opened her mouth wide and bit my back. But this bite didn't have much force. Pfft. Yui couldn't help but laugh too. This situation was truly ridiculous, but right after, she stuck out her pink tongue. Tui, what's that smell on your shirt? You were leaning against it the whole time. How would I know what that smell is? It's probably snot." "Shut up, don't say another word."